I'm Amanda Knox.
And I'm Christopher Robinson.
And this
is Who's Right? Between our usual Labyrinths episodes, we sit down to debate something quite serious.
Or silly.
And ask you, who is right?
It's me.
It's me.
It's me.
It's clearly me.
No, definitely me.
It's me.
Me?
No, me.
It's me.
How could it be anyone but me?
Says the man sleeping on the couch. Welcome to Who's Right. And if you are going to be joining us for a Who's Right of all Who's Rights, it should be this one, because this one
Because you think you're going to win and the stakes are real?
I didn't say I was going to win.
Oh, okay.
And for the record, I am taking a position, but I am on the fence, even though I am taking a position. But it does have like life or death stakes. And the question is, should Chris and I have another baby? Now, let me qualify that by saying not another human baby per se, but should we get a dog? Okay. This is a real...
Should we get a dog?
Should we get a dog? And I feel like, have we decided that the outcome of what people say will determine whether or not we get a dog?
You want to pre-commit to going by a vote of the listener base?
Let's just say that we are going to take very seriously into consideration what the listeners decide about who wins.
I'm on the no dog team.
So he's the
Obviously.
monster.
Yeah.
Talk about why you do not want to get a dog.
Okay, so there are quite a few reasons why we should not get a dog.
Okay.
And some
Can
of
we
them...
talk about the ones that are fucked up first? Because I think they're funny.
Please.
Well, you don't like dogs. Let's start by that. Chris doesn't like dogs. He thinks they're frapey.
They're definitely frapey.
Yeah, they go
if
right
you don't know
for
that
his
term,
crotch.
it's friend rape, you know?
Yeah, they are just like up in your business, up in your crotch.
Do not ask consent. Cats force you to learn how consent works.
That's right. So
you know? It's actually really good for our kids. It teaches them consent with animals because the cats will not fuck with you if you do not play by their rules.
Now,
you know?
To be fair, not all dogs are dogs that are up in your space, and some
True.
dogs will teach you that. But typically, the kind of dog I'm imagining is the kind of dog that is like a 3-year-old its entire life. And this is actually a selling point for me, because a dog that is a 3-year-old its entire life. It is in love with you. It wants to play with you. It wants to follow you around. It loves you and is your best friend forever for its entire life. And that you've never had that feeling before of like having that kind of... Chris did not grow up with dogs.
I know what it's like to have a cat love me.
It's
you don't
not
think it's the same?
It's not the same. Even Mr. Fats.
Because they're not like all over you and excited when you come home kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. Like they're all over and excited to see you when you have food to give them. But like a dog loves you. Like with its whole
maybe
being.
I'm feeling confident in my, self-worth. I don't need affirmation from an animal.
So give the more anti-reasons.
And again, she's going to have responses to some of these, and the particular breed of dog is going to address some of these.
Bingo.
But I don't like it when dogs are really loud and yappy and barky all the time, or when their energy level is up at 11 and they're just constantly running around. And even if they're not loud, they're just action-y, and...
Like a toddler.
Right?
Yeah. No,
and
for
some
sure.
people love dogs like that, and I'll go over to their house, and it's just like, great, now I got to deal with a new person came. So now it's like 10 minutes of just someone, the dog equivalent of like, Right.
And I will grant you that we both work from home and live from home, and not being able to, like, the dog would be here when we were working too, presumably, which is very distracting. Especially when you're in an industry that requires video and audio. So I grant you that as well.
Dog smell, not a fan. Dog shedding, not a fan. Dogs that scrape up your wood floors and kind of, really just make it so that you can't have nice things.
And
Not a
gnaw
fan.
on
Yeah,
things,
chew
right?
on stuff, right? Not
I've
not a fan of
definitely
any of
had
those things.
many of books destroyed by
Yeah.
dogs chewing on
So
them.
all of that,
They might eat your weed.
maybe we can address. It's not an issue.
I'm
Keep
just
my
saying.
weed very secure. Although probably a dog would be smart enough to get the weed. We don't have weed. If you're listening out there, federal agents. This is all hypothetical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Let's
the
address.
hypothetical
Let's
problems.
let's narrow it down now by giving your rejoinders
Okay,
based
so
on
my
breed.
rejoinders
Yeah.
are that now I am a person who believes in adopting dogs who needs homes, right? Like
Mm.
that has typically been my MO since my entire life. And I have sort of like given up the idea of being able to have a dog in this household with Chris, primarily because of all of these factors that a dog that you rescue brings into the scenario. They tend to be dogs that shed. They tend to be dogs that might have some kind of behavioral issue because they have who knows what happened
Mm-hmm.
to them in their past. And not necessarily. Like I've had rescue dogs that were just the sweetest, chillest, calmest animals, but you just don't know, right? And the rejoinder to that is 2 days ago, we went to a friend's house for dinner. It was the parents of a friend of Eureka's at school, and they just got a dog from a very established, good, ethical breeder um, that was very expensive, but is apparently the ideal version of a dog because it is capable of barking but doesn't feel the need to assert its voice. It does not shed.
Mm-hmm.
It is very, very like it's happy to see you, but also mellow. It's
Didn't seem mellow to me.
well, it's a puppy, and there were toddlers
Yeah.
screaming, so it was excited, but like, and the kids loved it. I loved it too. I immediately fell in love with that dog and was like open mouth kissing it. But like the
So
kids loved that dog.
they
And
would love a pig too. They'd love a monkey. Not getting a
we're
monkey.
not getting a monkey because that's utterly unethical.
I'm just saying, the fact that they love it shouldn't be much of a criterion here.
Except it definitely is a thing that I think the kids would love to have
Okay.
a dog.
So I will cede these points that
Mhm.
you can find a dog that doesn't shed, great. Doesn't smell, great. You can find a dog that is going to be well behaved enough to not jump up on me when I don't want it there. I'm not sure about this point, but like, let's assume I'll give that one to you.
Okay.
Right? Isn't going to scrape up and scratch up our nice floors. This dog wouldn't do that.
Well, you have to clip its nails, but yes, yeah,
Okay.
it can be done.
So all that aside, there's two big things that put me firmly in the no category on getting a dog. One is that we have 3 cats right now. And I know that it's not, like Tom and Jerry and Looney Tunes universe where cats inherently hate dogs.
And I had cats and
Yeah.
dogs growing up,
And
and they got along.
I have been to households that
However,
have,
I
nice
had cats who
relationships.
could go outside, and we do not have cats who can go outside. It's not safe for them to go outside where we live. So they would be trapped in a house with a dog, and
Mhm.
that I will concede. I cannot guarantee the mental and emotional well-being of our cats should we get a dog. And
Yeah.
that does give me
If the cats
pause.
end up feeling like they have to hide all the time, or that, I would, even if they didn't hide all the time, but they just felt like they don't get to sleep on the bed anymore with us, I would be sad about that if the cats just felt booted away from that level of
I
intimacy,
hear you. I hear
right?
you. And then the other counterpoint is we travel a lot. And
Yeah, we're going to be gone for like a month here in March. And
which would mean that
what do
we
you
would,
do?
well, this point I will fight you on because we typically do not travel for a whole month at a time. This is a special situation.
Mhm.
And even if we were to like talk to this breeder today, we would not get a dog until one was
No,
born, and then it
I
was
know.
9 weeks
I'm not
into it,
talking
like,
about
its life.
March. I'm just talking
But
about in general.
but I would say that being a week away from a dog is not that hard when you have dog sitters. We literally talk to our friends who have this breed of
Mhm.
dog who are like, "We would babysit your dog. You could just bring it over and leave it with us, and it would have fun with our dog." So, not really an argument.
I mean, I feel like you need to have a stable of 3.
My mom would take a dog. Your parents would not, but,
My
like,
parents would not,
my
no.
mom absolutely would take a dog. We have at least one person and you know what?
And you
Jeff and Cindy would take a
and you
dog.
wouldn't feel bad about pawning the dog off on other people, for a
No.
week at a time, like, pretty
No.
frequently?
I dog sat all the time when I was a kid. If you find people who are dog lovers, they are thrilled to have your
Alright,
dog.
what about just having to, like, go take the dog on walks and all that stuff?
I'm actually think that that's a pro because it gets us moving, it gets the kids outside. We don't spend as much time watching movies in the evening. We actually have an excuse to go outside again. I think that's a pro for getting a dog.
Yeah, but is it a pro when you're in the middle of your workday and the dog has to go outside to go
No.
pee, whatever? You gotta,
No.
you can
No.
barely find time to hop in the vocal booth for a "Who's Right Here,"
You just open the door, and then when it's ready to come back in, it scratches at the door and you let it in.
So it just gets free run outside and you trust it not to go get hit by
I
a
mean,
car or whatever?
we don't live on a street that has a ton of cars, but ideally what we would do is we would train the dog to go into the backyard.
Okay. Alright. I think the cat thing still isn't addressed here.
No, I didn't say that I
Yeah.
hadn't I said that I'm coming into this with a position, but that I'm actually on the fence because of some legitimate concerns. My main concern being the animals that we already have in the
And
household.
you don't think that the traveling is an issue at all? You think it would just be easily handled by
Easily. Yes, we have friends
giving the dog to other people
who
for,
love dogs, who live on our island, who would happily babysit a dog for a week. So that's not an issue.
Okay, I mean, I guess my problem here is the uncertainty, like, unless you're willing to repatriate this dog to somewhere else if it doesn't work out, right?
No, no, we would have to
Because
commit.
you gotta make the decision ahead of time, and then what happens if the dog and the cats don't mesh,
Well, then it would be super sad.
and then you
And
just live with that sadness?
I don't know what I would do. We would have to like what I would do is try to give it time and see if they grew on each other, and if they
Mhm.
didn't, then we would have to find some solution that I don't know. It would be terrible.
I'm also thinking that just 4 animals in the house is also a big number of animals, you know? You don't think so?
I grew up with more than that in my house. I grew up with
You
like
also
2 dogs, 3 cats, 2
yeah.
gerbils, a
That's
rabbit
a
in the
little
backyard.
weird.
It's not
It's a little
weird.
weird.
It's not
You didn't
weird.
live on a
I
farm,
didn't live it. I just lived in West Seattle, man. We had a big backyard. It worked.
Yeah. You had a fenced backyard.
I did have a fenced backyard. We might have to do something about fencing. Yeah, we'd have I mean, unless we're willing to go outside with the dog and sort of I think at the beginning we'd have to go outside with the dog and monitor and see like where the dog wants to explore. I would be worried about just giving it free rein because then it might go into the road and I wouldn't want that. So,
I mean, that's a real concern, right? You think you can just train it to not go into the road and to just hang out in our backyard with no fence?
no, I don't think that that's a possibility.
So then what do? You
It
can't
hangs
really.
out inside with you most of the day and then you
That's
take it
sad for the
outside.
dog. It's only getting outside time when you're taking it for a
Some
walk then.
dogs don't ever get a lot of outside
Yeah,
time.
and
Like
some dogs live in small studio apartments in New York City, and I
well, they
think that's
shouldn't do
horrible,
that, but, like, look, I'm just saying that, like, my dogs growing up, sure, they had an outside fenced yard, great. During the summer, that was great because then they
Mhm.
spent the majority of the time outside, but during the winter, they were inside most of the time anyway. So I'm just saying, like, having an excuse to get us outside more is not a bad thing.
Yeah, that's true. I just know what that's gonna look like, though.
Alright,
I
this you've made your point in this regard, like, I think we can move on. Um, and more pros about having a dog.
Do we need more pros?
I mean, I guess it's like, I don't know. Are our listeners dog lovers or not? I don't know.
Yeah, sure. What are the pros? It's
Um,
another companion. The children love it.
the children love it. Like, they're so much fun. Like, we then become friends with like, you can become friends with people because your dogs like each other. That's not a thing that, like, cats can do. You
No,
suddenly become
but
a dog park
I don't have
person.
enough time for my friends I currently have. I don't know that I need more friends.
I'm just saying, like, you have never had the special relationship that is dog, and I pity you. I
Well,
pity you.
do you think 3 years old is the right age to bring a dog in for the kids?
Let's see, how old was I? I mean, right now they are a little young, I would say, because ideally you would want to bring a dog in when the kids are able to help out.
Have and learn some sense of responsibility?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, when Eureka's,
5? I don't know.
I was about to say something before you interrupted
Go.
me. I was saying when Eureka's 10 and Echo's 8, like, I think that's a sort of ideal time when they're, like, really starting to think about how they are a part of the family structure and what they can
Mhm.
contribute to the family structure.
That's a
So,
ways from now.
yeah, it is.
It's 7 years from now.
Yeah. So 7 years from now, should we get a dog? Everyone, what do you think?
I mean, that's not really the question is, like, soonish, right?
Yeah. No, the actual question is, should we get a dog
'Cause the
now-ish?
calculus will be different then, like, some of the cats may have died 7 years from now,
Yeah.
you know? Because they're one of them's 10, 11.
Emil's
Emil.
11,
Emil's
yeah.
11, yeah. Emil is the one I'm most worried about because he's already shy and feels a little bullied by the other 2 cats,
Mhm.
and he has to fight to, like, get a pet from you on the rare times that he finds you alone, you know?
I
I
find him, for the record. He
mm,
gets his, but, like, not as much as he'd
yeah.
like, it's true. Alternatives to a dog, at least for the time
Mhm.
being. There are lots of other animals that people have, especially here on the island. It's really typical for people to have chickens, or, as I've always been a big proponent of, ducks.
Yes,
Um,
because their poop is good for gardens and
yeah,
they
yeah.
don't
And they don't scratch everything
scratch
up,
everything up,
and
yeah.
their eggs are just as tasty,
Mhm.
um, and
I would
apparently they're
be
very
I would
friendly.
be more interested in getting ducks than a dog.
You're down with ducks. Why are
Well
you down with ducks?
well, because 'cause they're not gonna be in the house.
Who says they aren't gonna be in the house? You can invite a duck into the house.
Not in my house.
Okay, so you want animals that are strictly not allowed in the house.
Well, no, just that I know that ducks are gonna be smelly and dirty and whatever, and it's fine if they live outside, right? If they're in my
So no,
space
what I just said was you're fine with animals that are not inside, is what
or
I'm
with
hearing.
animals that don't have a bad smell or don't shed a lot,
Okay,
you
which
know?
is the dog that I just
I know,
suggested.
which is my point. I'm not against having an animal if they meet those requirements. A duck doesn't meet those requirements,
Right.
right?
But ducks are very friendly.
They're they produce eggs,
They produce
right? Duck
eggs.
is a great idea.
You wanna get it? Should we get a duck?
I mean, you'd have to
Um,
get multiple
but the
ducks, right?
problem with a duck is it's not very kid friendly.
You
Like, a
can't
duck
really.
doesn't wanna be strangled by a toddler. A
That's true.
dog is down to, like, clown with a toddler.
That's true.
I mean, a big selling point for a dog for me is the joy it would bring to Eureka and Echo. So, I'm less caring about, like, the eggs a duck would produce and more about whether or not the kids can wrestle with it.
And you seem to be a pretty, like, on like reptiles and
I am
stuff like that.
so on reptiles, and I'm sure I'm gonna get a lot of reptile lover hate. But like,
Why?
because
Why do you hate reptiles?
they're tanks. I don't like an animal that I have to deal with a tank.
So nay on fish.
I am not a fish person. I'm sure there are lovely fish out there that have a deep connection with you, but like
I'm not
I'm
so sure about that.
I'm not a fish person. I think reptiles are cool elsewhere, but I
Yeah,
don't like feel
you wouldn't want to have a
compelled.
turtle. You just said.
No, and I've definitely had the experience of like having a cute little snake crawl up
Hmm.
around your neck and sort of pretend to strangle you, and it's very cute, but like it's not the same as a dog. It's not. And
Yeah, I agree.
and even like I've had lots of rats and gerbils in my life. You've
Hmm.
had rats.
I've had rats. Yeah,
You loved those rats.
they were great. The bad thing about rats is that they get tumors and die after about 2 years, and it's kind of
Also that.
unavoidable.
Yeah.
And not really
Not
possible
really
to meld them
cat
into a cat.
friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking rodents are off the table. Also, again, talk about stinky and
Yeah,
messy.
that's true.
Birds, no. I almost think nobody should own a bird because no bird actually likes to live in one of those little
Now, what about
cages.
one of those big cats? Like a, you know what I'm talking about?
Like a giant cat?
Yeah, like the kind that are as big as dogs. What are those called?
What are those called? So here's the thing about those things. I don't know what their personalities are like. Are
Hmm.
they like a dog or are they like a cat?
I think they're probably more like a cat.
Yeah, I don't think I need a giant cat.
You don't need a 40-pound cat?
I don't need a
No.
40-pound cat. I'm good with the cat. Talk about a situation for the cats we have. Oh, yeah, don't worry about it. It's just the same as you, but like 3 times as big. Don't be intimidated. Like, at least they can escape
Yeah.
a dog.
I mean, we occasionally actually routinely have a dog that visits the house.
Yeah, and they're chill.
And how do you feel about the cats when
Giant
that
cat
dog is here?
name. I mean, no, it's not a Maine Coon. What is that giant cat that people have that's like a combination between a lion and a regular
Yeah.
cat?
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, when when Simba is here,
Mm-hmm.
they typically don't hang out with Simba,
No.
but they also don't hide.
They're not like afraid of him,
No,
but do they seem more, you know, reluctant to come out and
I don't think so.
play?
I don't think so. I think they got used to him. I think that's the thing is I have this feeling that they're going to just get used to whatever animal we would bring in.
But you've told me there's no such thing as like a trial period here. There's no way to like,
No, I don't think I could bear to get emotionally attached to a dog
yeah,
and then have you be like, "Too bad, bye." Like I just like no, it's like having so I started this out by saying, kidding not kidding,
yeah.
are we going to have another kid? And it's kind of like that. Like you're sort of stuck with the thing that you gave birth to.
What about the dog eating the cat's food? Is that gonna be an issue?
We definitely have to stick the cat's food up higher, but like that's not an issue because cats are smart and can climb up to where their food is. That we have a situation already ready for that in the pantry.
Okay.
Are you becoming convinced to get a dog?
No, not yet.
I was not prepared to actually convince
I mean, I
you.
want to hear what the listeners have to say. I want to see if there's any no's.
Oh, another
that I
no
have-
reason is that Chris despises touching poop.
I don't despise it. I just don't like to do it.
That's the definition. Like you call me when baby Echo poops to like deal with it.
When
for
he
you.
poops in the bathtub,
Yeah, so you have
and
to touch
pick it up with
to
your
pick
hands.
it up.
Yeah. No, I'm not want
You
to do
have
that.
to when you go and walk the dog, you have to take a little like baggie and use your hand to
Well,
pick
you
up
have
the
a
poop.
baggie between your hand and the poop.
But you still like feel the poop,
And
especially
it's
the
warmth.
warmth of
I know.
the poop.
I'm not looking forward to that. Don't want to do that.
I don't mind it.
Yeah. Well, that's not a reason enough to not get a dog. I can like deal with picking up poop.
Okay.
What I'm worried about is still the travel thing. You haven't like sold me on that. Although I hear you. If we can line up 3 different people, that can be a rotating cast of like watch the dog. The cats thing, but I think also as much as you want to just say, oh, it'll make us go outside. Isn't that nice? Like I also am trying to be realistic and practical about how busy our lives are. And I'm worried that as much as we'll want to go outside, it'll be a situation where it's like, well, I've got that 12 o'clock interview with so-and-so. And then at 1 o'clock, I have to be on the call for the
No, I'm not
publicity
talking
thing, you
about
know?
during the day. I'm talking about at the end of the day when we're chilling out with the kids between 4 and when the kids go to sleep.
So the
We are
dog doesn't get
chilling
to
out.
go outside during the day?
No, probably would hang out with us most of the day inside. It probably wouldn't want to go anywhere else anyway because it's a very attached
I mean,
dog.
doesn't it need to go to the bathroom?
Occasionally, and it'll let us know, and then we'll walk outside for it to go to the bathroom. We have to go to the bathroom too. We take bathroom breaks. Like it's not like we don't. We're so busy that we can't even take a
I
bathroom
mean,
break. It's a
sometimes.
bathroom break. It'll go outside. It'll go pee. It'll come back inside, and then at the end of the day, between 4 p.m. when the kids get home
Mm-hmm.
from when Eureka comes home from preschool, whatever, we stop work. We start making food for dinner,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have this like 3-hour long period after dinner where we're hanging out with the kids, either watching a show or reading a book or playing with the little race cars that we could be going outside with a dog.
It's true. What about if you want to play race cars, though? Is the dog going to
Well,
trample over
mom
our
would
race cars?
probably go and take the dog on a walk while you do race cars with the kids.
All right. I think we need to turn it over to the listeners here.
Indeed.
Are there pros we're forgetting? Are there cons we're forgetting? Is Amanda, not really
Appreciating.
being practical about,
Yeah, all the dog owners who are currently dog owners. I haven't been a dog owner since I was a teenager. So, what am I missing? Uh, and am I right or is Chris
are
right?
there ethical concerns about not getting a rescue that you can't surmount?
And for the record, this is an ethical breeder, but it is a breeder. So,
And then in terms of dog varietals, what do you call them? Breeds?
breeds,
Yeah.
yes.
It's a Cabernet Merlot sheepdog. What do you recommend,
Yeah,
for you
totally.
dog people out there?
Yeah, especially in terms of not super loud, good with kids, and good with cats.
And won't destroy your space and doesn't shed and can talk to you and help do the dishes,
Right.
you know.
Full laundry.
Yeah.
You just want a robot slave. Let's just go back to Chris wanting a robot slave.
I don't need a robot
If it's
slave
in the
right
shape
now.
of a dog, I might consider it. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
You know where to find us.
At amandaknox.com.
And on Blue Sky at wisecracker.bsky.social.
At amandaknox.com.
And we'll see you next time.